name of your second born?
Yeah, so I after 10 minutes after my first was born, I got pregnant with Kennedy, and she was born. Same situation I had, pretty healthy pregnancy. Although, so when women have preeclampsia in their first pregnancy, they recommend doing baby aspirin after 12 weeks of gestation, and then you can go take baby aspirin daily. And then so I started doing that, and then I got gout in my feet because of it. And so I had to
Dang
stop the
it.
aspirin. It was just I couldn't win. So um
Can't win.
yeah, got so then I just stopped doing the aspirin, and then a week before I was due with her, I got preeclampsia again. So then I got induced with her, and that one was fierce. Like that was a really intense birth because I was in labor for 19 hours, so I was still in labor for a while, but like it was definitely like, I mean, it was much less than 56 hours. And at one point, so I was like 7 centimeters, and they were telling, and like I was like, okay, I'm ready to, like, I just need to, I think she's coming. And they were like, no, you're only 7 centimeters. And I was like, okay, fine, then like get me the epidural, because if I'm only 7 centimeters right now, then I was thinking of my first pregnancy where I was like 7 centimeters. Like I was stuck at 5 centimeters for days
Hmm.
with my first one. And so with this one, I was just like, okay, then get me the epidural. And I like had them go send for the anesthesiologist, and she was out before the anesthesia, like she was out within 20 minutes.
Oh
She just
man.
like, yeah,
You knew
I
she was
went from,
coming.
I knew she was coming. And like I told David, because like the nurse came and checked on me, and I was like, so then I'm like, David, get the nurse. And like, he's like,
So dramatic.
he was like, you just saw her, she's not coming. She just checked you. I was like, get her right now.
Oh, I could
The nurse
only
came,
imagine.
I'm on the floor in all fours. And the nurse is like, she saw her head coming. She's like, so
Oh my
she was just
gosh.
out. Like she's our fierce girl too. She fiercely came into this world, and she's very spirited to match that.
I'm obsessed with that story. That's
It
amazing.
was a really cool story. Yeah.
Really quick, what does Kennedy, the name Kennedy come from? Like what made y'all decide that name?
I don't know. I thought it flowed really well. I just thought,
Really?
yeah, I just really thought, yeah, I don't know. I've always kind of liked the name. We like last names for first names in our house. So
Got you.
um yeah, I just really like, and we call her Kiki because she's cheeky.
Do you love me? I
Yeah.
love that. Or Kenny. You do Kenny.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. So
so fears for that one. And then you said you had
hmm
postpartum preeclampsia after that one as well. After that.
yeah. And then had to get readmitted again, do the whole magnesia thing again. This time with a 18-month-old home, like it was hard to leave her not like already to go give birth, and then had to go get readmitted and leave her again. And
Mm.
then at like 6 weeks postpartum, I started having like, they thought that I might have had like a pulmonary embolism or something. So I had to go to the ER again. And
Sorry, I didn't mean to
yeah.
laugh. Like, but it was just funny to me because we have to know pulmonary embolism, and it's like a huge deal because it's a blood clot that could go up to your brain and cause a
Mhm.
stroke. And so you're
Yeah.
like something like that, like
I didn't have it, but they thought that I did. So I had to go to the ER and they had to run all these tests on me. And then it ended up just being nothing. And they said, maybe it's just a
Mm.
sign of your blood pressure medicine. I was like, okay, you couldn't have told me that before we did all these tests. But I know they had to do those tests in order to confirm that it wasn't that. So
Right. I don't know that they
yeah.
could have known that. So I guess better safe than sorry,
Yeah.
but I understand
Yeah,
where you're coming
exactly.
from because
I
your
know. I
body is
just
in
got out of the
such a,
hospital.
yeah, and it's such a fragile state. And then
Yeah.
your not body, your baby needs you. And then you're
hmm
having to go take care of yourself. How did you deal with that emotion? Did you feel
Oh,
guilty or did you feel,
oh yeah. Yeah. And then
I only say
just
that
like
not because you should
stressed and a
feel, okay.
lot of anxiety. Just like, yeah, because biologically, like moms are wired like to be protective over these brand new babies. And like, so to not have, I didn't have her with me when I was in the ER like that. Like, it was, yeah, very stressful and stressful for all three of them at home, for David and the kids, like to just be, yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot. How did
Yeah.
you get through that? Did you feel like that made your emotional but your mental stability, did it mess with that at all? And then what would be one strategy that you learned that you felt that you could share with the listeners that worked for you?
Mm, I think I'm still trying to learn that, but
Well, we all are.
yeah, I think how I got through it, I think it was just you have to, day by day, you just have to keep doing it. Um, I think it's definitely played, and I think that's why I struggle a lot with anxiety as a mom, because these first weeks of experiencing motherhood each time has been incredibly chaotic.
Yeah.
So, and stressful and just like fear driven in a lot of ways, which sucks. Like I wish that I could be this fearless mom that I thought I'd be, um but it's different when you're like facing it all, and when you have these lives depending on you and stuff. So
Is there a s- is there any external source that you feel like you can go to, like I know you're a believer in Christ. Like do you tap into that? Is there like a ritual? Like do you guys make sure you go to mass, or do you just pray to God in that moment, or do you have like a support? Do you feel like you have a good support system there with you in your local location?
yeah, I mean, I definitely like, yeah, prayer is a huge consolation. Just trusting that, like, God's not going to lead us anywhere that He won't take care of us. And nothing is beyond His control. Nothing is beyond what He allows to happen. And um,
I think it's hard.
I,
Sorry, I'll interrupt really quick
no,
because
go
I want to
ahead.
hear what you have to say about this. I think it's really hard, at least for me. Tell me what your thoughts are when it comes to knowing what the Bible says, knowing what we know about God's character, and what does it actually look like having faith, having trust that He's not going to give us plans that are going to harm us. Like He's not going to do that. How I struggle with that.
Mhm.
What do you struggle with that, and what are your thoughts on
Yeah,
it?
yeah. Because I have wrestled a lot with bitterness towards my experiences with delivering. I see all the like I'm like hippie at heart, and I think that like I
Yes.
would have loved to be like this, give birth at home. Like I would have loved to do these kind of things where I go to a natural birthing center or do like everything natural and everything like peaceful and calm. Because in reality, the act of giving birth is like um it's very natural. It's a very natural, and like there are a lot of remedies to make it almost painless. Like when I didn't have the epidural, my physical healing was just much better, um and it was really cool to feel how my body gave birth. Like I had the epidural on the other with the other two because I was in labor for 56 hours and I needed it to be able to get through to it. Um but yeah, I think like I have struggled a lot with bitterness and wrestling with like, well, why do I have to go through birthing like this? Why does it work out for so many other moms? And like I think it's just I'm learning that it's just a very unhealthy mindset to have that, and like to just be like, okay, well, God gives each of us different kind of crosses to handle because he knows one that we can handle it, and then two, what can we do with it? Like, how can we, like, and I think that's maybe why I'm like wanting to share my story is so that I didn't even know what postpartum preeclampsia was. Like, my mom had preeclampsia with in all six of her pregnancies or five pregnancies. She had twins. So with all six kids. And, but she had never even heard of postpartum preeclampsia, and so it's just, there's just so much that women don't know what they're what they're going to experience when they give birth. And like so many moms I know like didn't even know like that there's postpartum hair loss, like there's just so many things that happen to us that nobody really talks about. So yeah, maybe that's why God has let me experience postpartum preeclampsia, was so that like maybe, to let somebody else know about it so that they can ask the questions they need to, or because there are just so many unnecessary deaths for moms who die from postpartum preeclampsia. So it's just something that needs to be talked about a lot more, I think.
I agree, Chanel. I want to thank you for sharing that with us, the whole part about
Mm,
bitterness. That really
mm,
felt from, thank you for just being vulnerable and sharing that and just being like, that is something that I'm dealing with. And side note, and for different reasons, I'm working through not having bitterness as well. And it's
mm,
amazing how powerful it can be when it starts to grow and grow and get bigger.
mhm,
And you're absolutely right about, I mean, we've talked about this. I actually felt bad telling the group about this, but I'll share this with the listeners. So, my last year of physical therapy school, my prosthetic professor, she taught us prosthesis and orthotics. It was a class that we had online. Dr. Rosenberry, she was pregnant during the semester, and so she went into labor mid-semester, and
mhm,
she actually passed. Did she passed. She didn't make it, and her baby didn't make it. And it was just this weird, couldn't have happened at a worse time, like for us as students. I mean, I know it's not about us, but from our perspective, it just was weird. We're just like, but I don't understand. Like, aren't there like doctors? Like, she's a physical therapist, she's a doctor. Like, how did this happen? And I actually still don't know the details, but it should be talked about, like what Chanel's saying. It should be talked about more. There should be more education. And I feel it's like a dark force that's deceived our minds into thinking it shouldn't be talked about. So I'm really, I think this is good that we're doing this and that you shared this. So, so moving on from your second pregnancy with Kennedy to your last pregnancy, how many times, or not how many times, how much time had elapsed since you had given birth to her and then had your new?
I got pregnant with my third when my second was exactly a year old, and then gave birth in 9 months after that. So in August. So yeah, August of 24. That was my last pregnancy.
Got you.
So all in all, I mean, between giving birth the second time and then giving birth the third time, it was 12 months, 22 months. So
Okay.
a little bit more time than, because before it was 18 months. There was an 18-month uh, gap, and now there's a 22 gap. So,
Yes. So tell us about that. What was that like?
well, this time around, I chose a different hospital and I chose a different OB, because before I was going through midwives and they were very reactive with my healthcare and not proactive.
Hmm.
So I chose an OB who I just thought that she was great. She was very proactive in treating things. She was on top of my blood pressure and yeah, she was really awesome about it. But I ended up getting preeclampsia anyway. Like she scheduled an induction for me to try to avoid any of that. And um um
You have to.
sorry, yeah, I gotta wrap up soon. But yeah, I tried to avoid that whole thing. So we scheduled an induction for 2 weeks before I was supposed to give birth, because I always get it the last week. But then I got it a week before I was supposed to get induced.
Mm,
So, but then we were able to hold off and still stick to the original like 2 week induction. Anyway, so still induced. And that time around it was like 14 hours of labor, and but I still had it was still pretty intense, and but just not nearly as bad. So,
as the previous.
yeah. Yeah.
What word would we give the
So,
third one?
the giving birth experience was a lot more peaceful, I think, the
Hmm.
third time around. Just um I think a lot of the things that I had already expected to go through it all. I had already put my head like, okay, this is just how it is for me. I'm gonna experience these. I'm gonna do this, this, and this, and it um it ended up just being like not as painful and not as like yeah, and even like I did get postpartum preeclampsia again this time. Had to be hospitalized again, but it was just I think going in with the mindset of, okay, this is just how it's going to happen, I think just
Aw.
gave me a little more like, okay, like acceptance of it, I guess. So
Do you feel like that acceptance made it like a better experience and less pain?
maybe, yeah, probably because I wasn't fighting the
What
way my
helped
body
you?
fights.
How did you 180 that?
I think just through prayer, like just, okay, this is the cross that I'm given right now to bring life into the world. Like you always have like you have to bear a cross in some way, and this was just my particular one that I had to do, I think. So yeah, I guess spiritualizing it for me is what helped.
Was there a particular set of people in your life at that time that were different from the other pregnancies? Like, was there something going on in your life that maybe had changed it, or do you think it was just came
No,
internally?
I think both. Like my husband was just super supportive in the postpart. Like he like made me be on bed rest and made me stay in bed those first few weeks. It was just like you're not allowed to do anything. Like I will go get you food. I will go get you water. I will like you just rest. And I think that was just really helpful. It made me feel taken care of, and yeah. So
Absolutely. What's one thing that he does that you would suggest to our male listeners for to be supportive for their wives?
mm, take care of mom so that she can take care of the baby.
Nice. What does that look
That's
like?
the
Give us two things that like practical things.
Yeah, like ask her if she needs a snack when she's nursing the baby, or does she need water, or does she, Kiki, hold on, baby, I'll be right there. Um, yeah, just like, or just asking, hey, like,
Hmm.
what do you need?
Several
But
times throughout the
sometimes we
day.
don't even know, huh?
Several
Yeah,
times
and
throughout the
sometimes
day.
we don't know what we need, but a massage or whatever, just anything. So just making sure that she's still your number one. I
I
think
love it.
that's what women need to know from their husbands or spouses, whatever. Hold on, baby. That they still matter. So
Thank you so much, Chanel.
yeah,
This
sorry,
is
my all
don't apologize.
chaos
That's
is
the whole
breaking loose. I,
point.
I gotta go.
Yeah. So who is that she doesn't have to come
This
up here.
is yeah, we don't want to put our kids' faces online at all, but this is
I
Kiki
understand.
right here. She yeah. Um
She wants her mama. Well,
yeah, and then Harrison is he woke up from his nap a little while ago and is mad that mom's not there. So
well, all right. Well,
yeah.
thank you, Chanel. Thank you
Yeah.
for being here with us and for
Thanks for asking. Yeah.
absolutely and just being a source of healing for other people that are going to be listening. And again, thank everybody for listening to Abby's podcast, Her Anatomy, and everybody have a great day. Thank you, Chanel.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.